Tenors and altos in the middle, and
the St. Louis Recorder Society will probably never be a really big group because while the recorder is one of the most popular instruments in the country, most people stop playing it sometime soon after kindergarten. But these are adults, and they are serious about their music and their instrument of choice. And they rarely arrive at one of their meetings with just one.
This is a small one called a Sopranino. Isn't that cute?
Yeah. What's your favorite?
The alto.
Yeah.
Most of the good literature is for alto.
Mm-hmm. And they keep getting much bigger, even to the size of a recorder that looks like an organ pipe. All the voices from high to low. And there was a time when music was composed just for recorder ensembles, even orchestral pieces. But that goes back 400, 500 years to the Renaissance and Baroque eras. And often, that's the kind of music they play.
1, 2, 3, 4.
On this Sunday afternoon, they warmed up with a Frescobaldi composition from 1608.
Recorder has been a popular instrument, certainly in schools, for a long time.
For a lot of people, it's the only instrument they ever learned to play.
That's exactly right. And when we're playing at various venues, it's amazing the number of people that come up and say, "Well, I used to play the recorder," and then we try to get them to come to meetings because this is a way to keep playing.
There is a debate, as there is in a lot of musical organizations, about trying new stuff, modernizing, experimenting, and they will do some of that. But since the recorder tends to attract people who already love the old stuff, that's mostly what you'll hear. Another piece they tried, The New Year's Gift, was a little livelier, easier to dance to, at least by Elizabethan standards. Now, you might think there'd be a hot debate over plastic versus wood, but not really. Plastic recorders sound just fine. But if you're invited to play at a Renaissance fair or a madrigal dinner, and those are really the only outside gigs a recorder player can expect to get, you go with the wood for authenticity. A lot of the players here are playing handcrafted Stecher brand recorders, because that's Stecher there, playing a bass recorder that came right out of his West County workshop.
Yes, this is a Renaissance bass recorder, and it sounds in C.
Norman Stecher is a retired architect and a longtime woodworker who decided about 20 years ago that his calling was the recorder.
A couple of us were playing recorders one time, and I sat down and said, I wonder if I can make one of these things. And I tried to make one of those, a recorder, and found out that I couldn't. And I got about a bushel basket full of failures until one day I could copy one and actually get it to play.
Like any other woodworking project, it starts out with a block of wood, and then there's drilling, turning, sanding, cutting. But it is precision work. He just doesn't drill holes. They have to be placed just right. Some are tapered, some are angled, because everything will affect the sound. And the sound is everything.
The precision required here, I think, would discourage.
You have to make a lot of mistakes, and you have to throw a lot of them away when you first start, unless you have the advantage of being taught how to do this. But I'm self-taught, and so I destroyed a lot of these things in the beginning. A lot of people are.
He makes the oldest style Renaissance recorder with a smaller range and a simpler mouthpiece. Here he works on the mouthpiece of the more common Baroque recorder, which today is played mostly by young children who generally, if they stick with music, will move on to a band instrument and they'll put the recorder aside. But that's really nothing new. In fact, the musical establishment pretty much put the recorder aside for centuries and nearly forgot about it.
because the Baroque flute took over, and the flute was better suited to that style of music. People put recorders on a shelf and never played again till the 20th century.
And there are two parts to the recorder revival story. First, there was a modern revival of the old music. That brought back the period instruments, and not just recorders, but the curious crumb horns, which are nicknamed, for obvious reasons, buzzies. The other part of the recorder revival had to do with using it as an easy instrument for children to learn. And there's the challenge for Kathy Sherrick, a local recorder enthusiast who also happens to be the administrator of the American Recorder Society.
The biggest issue nationally is how to promote the recorder from a pre-band instrument in the early music programs in the elementary schools. How to keep people playing from like the 6th grade to up until my age.
And dealing with that challenge naturally involves the old versus new music debate.
There are many players on both sides of that fence, locally and across the nation, who say that Baroque and early music is, that's the finest part of the music. But I myself think to keep people interested that you have to introduce 20th century music and 21st century music. That is going to be the way that we are going to attract and keep the younger players.
And so the St. Louis Recorder Society kicks off its 10th anniversary with plenty to think about and so much to play. And while so many other people were spending a Sunday afternoon in January watching football playoffs on big screen TVs, there was this group playing music written for the funeral of a 16th century pope.
I wouldn't mind trying that again. I don't think we could have.
Yeah, sometimes it was hard to hear the beat.